Today, we're starting a new project, y'all. We've got a couple of our base to fossil decks that we've kind of set aside. We're going to turn all of these into a cube. So I've had a bunch of base fossil decks. It's a cool format. I've had them for a while now. This is when I first started playing Pokemon. I was around when I was a kid when Pokemon came out, and this sort of the time when I was collecting. I knew how to play, but I didn't play too much. I had a starter deck or a couple things. It was a lot of collecting. Since then, I've learned how to play, and I really enjoy the starter deck stuff. I've enjoyed the base fossil set, and I have some new stuff. Of course, the 151 stuff, but when it comes to playing, the base fossil is such a nostalgia with the art, with the way the cards play. It's such a cool way of doing it that I wanted to turn this stuff into a cube. I love cube. Of course, you've seen all of our Magic content related to cube. So let's turn all of this, these decks that existed into it, because I'm not playing any of the leagues or doing any of the stuff on a regular basis. So I wanted a good way to be able to utilize these cards and basically curate and build this cube. So if you're not familiar with cube, we have Magic the Gathering cube videos on the channel. You guys can learn about how to build a cube as well as the stuff. But the idea of a cube is it's a draft-based format. So you will take a pack with cards and you'll go through it and pick the ones you want and then build the deck from there. So today we're going to go through and we're going to sort through basically what we want the evolution styles to look like, what we want the psychic styles to look like. This is only going to be our psychic stuff. We'll do videos that are separate for all the other sets, of course, but we're starting with this here. So, the idea of having Pokemon powers is really cool and synergistic because players can use them on their bench. They can use them on the battlefield. So, trying to have as many as possible seems really good. Also, having a good balance between stage 1, 2, and 3, because you don't want to have players feel like they can't do the thing. So trying to find almost pillars to set up of going, this is a Abracadabra Alakazam pillar of 1, 2, 3, right? So if you start drafting this, you're going to want to try to focus on the other ones. So we don't want players to have to be stuck with cards they can't use. But you can see a little bit of the Pringleification. We have a video all about unpringling cards, so we will be, of course, unpringling them before we start drafting and playing it. But let's just start going through and show a little bit about what we've got here. So, okay, so we've here's an interesting one. We've got two different Haunters here. So we've got the base set Haunter, and we're going to include both, but of course the fossil version does have this Pokemon power, Transparency. So you get to flip a coin and negate the damage that can be done to Haunter on the next turn, which is awesome. Now, if he's asleep, Pokemon powers don't work. So, or confused or paralyzed. So, 50 health, a little bit not as hardy, where the other one is much higher damage there on the other side. So, we wanted to try to be able to utilize as many different types as possible. We'll probably include both. And then, Gengar's such an iconic. We want to be able to have as much sort of variety as possible and having enough of the base. So definitely 4 for the base seems to make sense. We could go more, but I feel 4 seems like the best, right? 4, 2, or 4, 3, 4. I don't know. We'll see. You definitely don't want more of your last stage than the others, so that is something to kind of consider. Psychic also has we've got potential evolution lines to go for. So here's our Do the Wave deck. We're not going to worry about any of the normal or the trainer cards today, just Psychic. There will be other videos, so stay tuned. Those will be coming out on Saturdays if you want to learn about us kind of building this cube over the next coming kind of weeks and months. Also deciding on the size of it. So how are we going to be setting it up? And this will be posted online, the cube, once we get finished with it. In the first episode, you'll just have to kind of rely on, the way we're set up. This is, of course, our Alakazam damage transfer deck that we had. So taking that apart, because, there are, of course, decks that do exist within the format. There's still decks that are evolving and increasing. So we're just different types of Mewtwo's here. Promo one, I do like the idea of including a bunch of promos in mine. This was, of course, from the movie. And then we've got the base set version of it. So I like including both, you know. So, like, Mewtwo is one of the scariest Pokemons too. So it's like the power of it seems really cool. It's also allowing players to splash because it is one of a really powerful base Pokemon. Just like how Scyther and Hitmonchan and Electabuzz, the three big hitters of, you know, base to fossil format of just like, this is just, you don't need to evolve it. It hits hard, very powerful, fast attacks that you can get out there with. So a little bit of splashing abilities, but hey, look at the Mr. Minds. I like Mr. Mind a lot. So again, Pokemon powers are really important and key here. The invisible wall, whenever an attack, including your own, does 30 or more damage to Mr. Mime. After applying weaknesses and resistance, prevent the damage. So this power can't be used, of course, if Mr. Mime is asleep, confused, or paralyzed. So a nice little barrier to kind of basically put a wall up against maybe some bigger, scarier Pokemon. You know, but yeah, I had a nice little water psychic deck at one point with the gold duck, and here's some Mewtwo's and a singleton Mew. More Mr. Mimes. We'll sort through it. All the Mimin going through. But yeah, not worrying about any water for this one. That'll be another one, of course. Just psychic for this one. All right, let's get all those out of the way real quick. All right, so do we want to do Slowbro? I don't know. We could do the 4 Slowpoke and 2 Slowbro as an option. Let's see, Pokemon Power. You gotta move some damage with it. Or move it to it. Maybe. Alright, yeah, we gotta manipulate counters. That's an option. Let's set it aside. Also, this can help us determine numbers. Let's start going through and kind of decide what we want to have. Mewtwo's are really good to have. Should we do the 4-2? I mean, he's so iconic. I mean, it is the best psychic Pokemon, like just base. 6? Is that too much? I don't know. If we're doing a big cube, 6 seems okay, because this gives basically 2 players the chance to draft 3 of them, or we could do a split. So 2 Gengars, 3 and 4. So 4, 3, 4, 4, 2. Not a bad idea. And we can do 4, 3, 3. I don't dislike that, actually, the way that's set up. 6, 1. And, oh, we also got Mr. Mines. Okay. Let's just do 4 Mr. Mines. And one, should we just put 1 Jinx in here, too? And how does that look? I don't dislike this right now. All right, let's check some numbers and count it up here. 32 is pretty good. 32 is not bad. I'm pretty happy with that. If we do like a basically 30 sum for each of the colors, each of the like energy types, that's not a bad. This leaves it, we don't get to do the Slowbro stuff though with this. I think it's like, you know, the draw of like, do we just want people to draw Mewtwo? Maybe, but then it's like you have your 3 evolution lines, right? You can go, oh, are you going for a Gengar line, and that's going to be a big part of your deck, and you can splash something else? Like, I don't know. We've got the Sleepy Time decks available with Hypnosis and stuff, with Haunter. We've got damage manipulation with Alakazam as another 3 evolution line. I feel like this isn't bad. I kind of like this a lot. I mean, maybe we'll have to draft it and start playing it and see, because maybe the Mewtwo and the Psychic stuff is too much, but I don't know. I think this is worth trying and starting with. to finish up our recording for this first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So a couple things to note. This is our first draft of things. We are going to be playing with the cube a little bit more and testing it out. But the idea of going for a 4 base for most of our Pokemon is to allow essentially up to 2 players to draft it, right? When we do the kind of 4-3-2 split, it basically gives 2 of the final evolution chain for 1 person to either grab both of them or for 2 people to grab 1 each. So that's kind of our mindset. So maybe we'll do a 4-4-2, but I want to try out the 4-3-2 elements, so that way maybe if one player grabs 2 of the final evolution, maybe somebody else can grab that middle evolution there if they already got it and they don't feel like completely locked out, at least in the case of like a Haunter or an Kadabra line and stuff like that. So we'll see whether or not we add the Slowpoke lines into it. It's going to be interesting, but let me know what you guys think of this first little look into our psychic chain and psychic Pokemon in this Pokemon cube, and what Pokemon you guys want to be able to see next in our evolution reveal here of this cube as we slowly build it up. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, y'all. I'll see you all next game.